I'm Will Hirsch, and straight ahead on WVU News, I'll tell you why businesses in Morgantown are thriving.
Straight ahead on WVU News, I'm Nicole Linder, and I'll tell you how the crisis in Ukraine is affecting one student here at WVU.
I'm Victoria Licata, and coming up on WVU News, I'll tell you how schools are making nutrition a main priority in Monongalia County. Our award-winning WVU News starts now.
A violent standoff in Ukraine is being named the biggest crisis in Europe of the 21st century. Find out how this international conflict is affecting the WVU student body. I'm Andrew Seeley.
And I'm Victoria Licata. Morgantown is gaining national attention as one of the top small cities to launch a small business. See how tax breaks are affecting business owners. You're watching WVU News, an award-winning newscast produced by television journalism students at West Virginia University.
A complex situation of violent protests and a fleeing president is leaving the state of Ukraine in a crisis, and its effect is being felt across the globe.
That's right, Andrew. WVU News reporter Nicole Linder joins us in the studio with more. Nicole?
Thanks, Andrew and Victoria. A once peaceful country is now struggling to reunite its 45 million people, and protests are leaving Ukrainians injured or dead. The Ukraine Health Ministry reports current casualty numbers to be in the thousands. The crisis in Ukraine is hitting home for a WVU student. She says the violence and confusion is leaving her concerned for her loved ones remaining within the country. From the streets of Kiev to Woodburn Circle, WVU student Olesia Iglova knows the impact of the Ukrainian protests too well. Born in Odessa, the junior speech pathology student has deep ties to Ukraine and is trying to understand the crisis in her country.
Now that it's happening to Ukraine, it's just so hurtful to see that this is where you were born, and like now people are just trying to take over it and take away what memories you had.
Iglova visited her family in Ukraine last summer and says there were no signs of instability. Her family has since been directly impacted by the crisis, making some of her relatives get involved.
My cousin was a part of the riots in Ukraine as well, and when he was leaving Ukraine, he had a grenade thrown at their car. He's joining the army to fight for Ukraine, but they're really hoping there won't be a war.
Experts foresee different ways the crisis may be resolved.
There's two possibilities, basically. You could have a political compromise that brings stability and avoids violence, or you could have a very violent scenario that's unstable and unpredictable.
Here in America, Iglova says she's happy to be on U.S. soil where things are stable. But for the nearly 1,600 international students here at WVU, when a crisis arises overseas, it could be devastating.
I hope that my family stays safe and everybody else in Ukraine stays safe, and I hope that there's no war.
Only time can tell what the fate of Ukraine will be. After months of violent protests and pressure from Russia, the crisis in Ukraine continues. President Obama says the United States will stand with the people of Ukraine and their right to determine their own destiny.
As concerns for safety continue in Ukraine, a silent killer may be entering your home.
Colorless, odorless, and tasteless, a carbon monoxide leak is virtually undetectable, but being prepared could save your life. WVU News reporter Rob Gillespie has more.
That's the sound that 33-year-old Jason Moats heard at 4:30 in the morning this past January. He jumped out of his bed and went into his living room. That's where Moats says he realized it was his carbon monoxide detector.
I immediately woke up and called the police and woke up my brother and the rest of my family and evacuated the house.
Moats says when he called 911 and reported the alarm, authorities issued him a stern warning.
Stay at the house till they called the gas company and they detected the leak.
Moats' brother recalls that night.
I'm glad he woke us up when we did, and I'm glad we had a CO2 alarm because we would have been dead.
Star City volunteer firefighter Lieutenant Gillespie explains why carbon monoxide is so deadly.
Once you start getting into your higher levels of 100 parts per million or higher, it's lethal within seconds to minutes.
Officials say carbon monoxide is produced by the incomplete burning of fuels such as coal, wood, kerosene, and propane.
Fire officials say it's important to have carbon monoxide alarms near each separate sleeping area, as well as on every level of your house.
This alone could be the difference between life and death.
I went out and purchased enough CO2 monitors to have one in each room in my house now.
Officials say besides tightness across chest, symptoms of poisoning may include headache, fatigue, and dizziness. Robert Gillespie, WVU News, Morgantown.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say the best way to prevent carbon monoxide poisoning is to have gas, oil, or coal-burning appliances inspected by a qualified technician every year.
Smart investing is a good decision for any homeowner, but it's a bigger priority for small business owners.
It certainly is, Victoria, and Morgantown was recently ranked as one of the top small cities to launch a small business. WVU News economic reporter Will Hirsch found out what incentives are bringing business owners to the Mountain State. He joins us now at the anchor desk with more. Will?
Thanks, Andrew and Victoria. Choosing a business location is perhaps one of the most important decisions a business owner will make, and with West Virginia's many tax breaks, location can mean the difference between success and failure. Taxes. Every business pays them. However, West Virginia has eliminated around $235 million in tax burdens on businesses over the last 5 years. And for Mountain People Co-op General Manager Ashley Kane, she says low property taxes are a good thing.
I think it helps a lot, especially with young fledgling companies that want to get their foot in the door. It's a nice, easy way to settle in and then be able to grow with a lower rate.
West Virginia and Washington are the only two states that use what is called a business and occupation tax. The money generated from the B&O tax allows West Virginia to keep business property taxes extremely low. This year, the city of Morgantown expects to make $10.8 million on the business and occupation tax and only $3.5 million on the business property tax. That means more money in the hands of business owners. Morgantown City Manager Jeff McCorksky explains why the state has such low B&O taxes.
They may have looked at the states surrounding West Virginia and looked at our rate is a lot higher than the other states. We wanted to make West Virginia more competitive and reducing those rates.
With 8 out of 10 businesses failing within the first 18 months, tax incentives like the ones West Virginia offer can only help those same businesses succeed. The 2014 Morgantown Economic Outlook says healthy business growth will continue over the next 5 years. Business owners can expect positive growth in employment, per capita personal income, and population. Andrew and Victoria, back to you.
Morgantown has many other amenities to offer, including its nightlife, and around the holidays, High Street is known to get rowdy, but recent findings show that fact may be changing. When it comes to the holidays, the city of Morgantown and WVU take partying to another level. A major concern for this year was St. Patrick's Day. In 2012, the holiday brought over 30 arrests and 250 citations. The WVU Police Department says the 2014 St. Patrick's Day was considerably quiet, with crime logs reporting only 10 citations and 2 arrests. The University Police Department says this steep decline is caused by St. Patrick's Day falling on a Monday when students are still returning from spring break. As national rankings for #1 party school loses ground, so does another national ranking for most obese state.
West Virginia has recently been downranked to #2 for having the most obese population. Experts changing in schools are helping the state move in the right direction. But I found out how more can be done to continue this transformation.
March is National Nutrition Month, and students find apples, oranges, and fresh salad, among other healthy options, in the lunch line. Since implementing healthier choices in schools, some cooks believe students seem to enjoy these options.
They have responded well, and once you tell them this is the way it's going to be, they really do get on board with this, and I think they kind of liked it.
Students in Monongalia County are required to leave the lunchroom with some sort of fruit and vegetable, which is all part of the state's plan to reduce childhood obesity and promote a healthier lifestyle.
The West Virginia Department of Education says a healthy eating plan includes fruits, vegetables, whole grains, low-fat proteins, and dairy. These all benefit students' mental and physical health.
But not all experts say pushing students to eat healthier at school is the way to make them improve their diet.
I do believe that education is the key. don't just enforce the rules of you have to have this, but express to them why it's important to incorporate it versus mandating it.
Students are even saying enforcing these policies doesn't mean they'll follow them.
I have friends who sometimes aren't hungry and don't like the fruit that they're given, but they still make them get it anyway, and then it's just a waste.
The Gallup Wellbeing Report says obesity in West Virginia is around 34%, and officials believe the state can continue to lower that percentage when healthy nutrition is ultimately encouraged both inside and outside of schools.
Today, the number of obese children in West Virginia is close to 25%. That's almost 1 in every 4 children.
With so many at-risk children, getting involved is the next step for the Morgantown community.
That's right, Andrew. And coming up next on WVU Sports, reporter Morgan Farr gives us an inside look at how former WVU football stars are inspiring young fans to be healthy.
Once a Mountaineer, always a Mountaineer. Straight ahead on WVU Sports, I'll tell you what all these kids are doing here in Morgantown.
We're all different. Our interests, our backgrounds can influence our futures. But without focus, they're just dreams. But what if someone could give your interests life? If they could give your background power? If they could fuel what motivates you? That's what gives dreams meaning, purpose. And perhaps that was the moment you knew you wanted to be a Mountaineer.
As West Virginia moves down the scale for obesity, former WVU football stars contribute to the movement as role models.
They're coming back to Morgantown and introducing the importance of exercise to today's youth. Sports anchor Brittany Kavanaugh is here to tell us more. Brittany?
Thanks, Andrew and Victoria. Regular physical activity in childhood can improve strength and endurance, but the task is impossible without the right mindset. Current NFL players and WVU alumni are motivating today's youth to continue a healthy pace. Sports reporter Morgan Farr has more on a WVU event that is getting kids off the couch.
Former WVU football players are inspiring children in Morgantown. Over 150 at-risk kids from West Virginia gained instruction from their idols on healthy eating habits and exercise. The event was called A Day of Play and was beneficial for both the participants and the players.
Growing up where I'm from, we didn't really, our role models weren't really, active in the community like these guys are now. So I definitely wish, as an adolescent, that I wish I had somebody I could look up to.
Super Bowl champion Bruce Irvin has a personal reason as to why he believes role models are important for today's youth.
As a teen, I did a lot of crazy things, man. I had a rough coming up. So, I just being here with them makes me feel comfortable because I know they're in a safe environment.
Playing football with these kids is just the first event in the Day of Play. As next, they'll be heading to Ruby Memorial Hospital, where they'll be putting down their footballs and lifting the spirits of kids in need. And visits from professional football players like J.D. Woods, Will Clark, and Bruce Irvin are exactly what these kids need.
Anytime I have a chance to come back and give back, especially in this state, I don't hesitate to do it. So I'm just happy to be here, man.
If you would like to donate or volunteer at the WVU Children's Hospital, you can visit the link at the bottom of your screen. Morgan Farr, WVU Sports, Morgantown.
The event was sponsored by the United Way and is related to the NFL's Play 60 movement. The program teaches kids to get at least 60 minutes of exercise every day. The event's organizers hope to make the Day of Play an annual event.
Sports, exercise, and role models make an important difference towards a healthy lifestyle.
But it's also important to find something that you enjoy.
Well, that's all we have for you on this week's edition of WVU News. You can visit us online at our website.
You can also watch any of our shows on YouTube. I'm Andrew Seeley.
And please follow us and our reporters on Twitter. I'm Victoria Licata. Thanks for watching WVU News. We'll see you next time.